This is Montrose Makerspace Today for January 29th, 2015. I realized last night when I was laying in bed that I haven't actually recorded any this week. Don't let that be an indication that nothing's going on here at the Makerspace. It's actually a very busy week. I started out Monday by sending out an email saying that where did January go? And I have to go meet with a customer next week in Albuquerque. And I realized that there was not 2 weeks until next week. There was only one. So I sent out an email saying these are the things I could kind of commit to. And those were giving a presentation at Heidi's Forum on Wednesday, and giving a tour on Tuesday night, and taking the bankers around on Thursday. That's all I can possibly do. Well, those were the best laid plans on Monday morning, so let's get into it. I'm going to go over the last 4 days and make this as fast as possible. I did I dropped the 501c3 application in the mail. Here's the receipt. And it got picked up on the 26th, and it was delivered today at 10 a.m. in Covington, Kentucky. Woohoo! Our application is in. I recorded on Monday afternoon 4 screencasts on how people can actually use, or internal people can use Meetup, our Gmail account, Google Docs, and our Google Drive. And there's one more. The WordPress to create posts and pages. It took about an hour or so, and I recorded those and posted those on a private link on our website. Then on Monday night, I went to dinner. It was Andy's birthday. And I met a couple people there, and one of them was, I think his name was Paul. Paul's an architect here in town, and he's a friend of Ross's from long ago. And he came over and saw the Makerspace with Ross a little bit earlier, probably over the weekend, and they discussed the lounge. Paul had a really good comment about how we would actually fix the stairs. If we move the door in the wall down below into the main room downstairs, we move that wall, then move the door a little bit closer to the main door into the Makerspace, then we could have much more wall real estate for the stairwell. That's a really good idea, and that's why we need to have architects in there, not people like me who are engineers who haven't really done drywall. So that was a great kind of relief, because I had no idea how we were going to do that. That was on Monday. Tuesday, we got ready for this. Remember last week I talked about a guy named Bob from Snowmass who said he's going to come over and take our tour and go to Heidi's on Wednesday morning. And he's thinking about starting his next adventure in his life, a startup here in town. And so he came over here to check out our prototyping and light manufacturing capabilities. So he showed up for the tour, and I gave the tour. Let's come back to the tour in just a minute. Susan worked with, no, they did that on Wednesday. I don't know. I'm kind of brain dead. I did the tour on Tuesday because Chuck was over at Montrose Ignite, which is like you get a 5-minute, basically get to step up on the soapbox and talk about your passion. And he talks about being a maker for 5 minutes. You specifically cannot kind of promote your business. But he snuck it in at the end about being a maker, and he got all of them actually in the at the Ignite to admit that they were makers by what kind of things that they actually did. And at the end, he snuck in, hey, we have this makerspace over here that's top notch. So while he was doing that, I was giving a tour to Bob. Bob and his son were in there. And I got there around 7. I was there till about 10:30. So we spent almost 3 hours on the tour, because we talked about a wide variety of things. Now, Bob would not kind of reveal what he was going to kind of work on, but he did say, in his email that this is a game changer for Montrose, could put Montrose on the map. So we're, naturally interested in that kind of big talk. Let me see, that was on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday morning, I got up around 5:30 in the morning. Oh no, I can't even read what I wrote here. Tuesday night, after I got home at 10:30, I then worked on revising my slides from the Rotary lunch, and created a new slide deck for the Heidi's presentation, and incorporated all the things that have happened in the last month into that. So Wednesday morning, I got up around 5:30, and finished up the slides and printed out some notes, packed up all the stuff, and got done Heidi's at about 7:30. And Kern and I were going to do a tag team on the presentation, and Heidi's again was packed. A lot of people were in there, and that was actually a really good hour. We took we showed the video, the Three Things video, and we talked about the makerspace being really a collaboration of highly motivated individuals who are making their future using tools. And we talked a lot about that and the entrepreneur ecosystem and the partnership with Welcome Home Montrose, as well as I should see if this thing is actually recording. Hold on a minute. Where's my guy here? It says we're capturing video. All right, we're good to go. Because this one is going to it's going to be long. Yeah, it's almost midnight here, and I'm really exhausted, so bear with me. We got through Heidi's, and the interesting part to me about Heidi's was we got introduced, Kern and I, and they asked who had heard about the makerspace, and I'd say about 80% of the people raised their hand, which is really quite good. That means we're getting some really a lot of exposure, because I looked around at a lot of those people that were there, and I've given tours to probably a third of them, but not nearly that number. And I think a lot of those people there are the people that really are in tune with what's happening in Montrose and probably read the front page of the newspaper. And we had some really good conversations there. The first person that came up to the microphone and asked a question, he talked about intellectual property and how we as a makerspace was going to protect our makers' intellectual property. And I kind of thought that was an odd question to be talking about, particularly because I just had the exact same conversation the night before with Bob from Snowmass in the makerspace. That's what took so long on that tour, was we did have a pretty long discussion about that. So I answered again, and we talked about the open source movement and open source hardware. But I realized at that point that we need a formal policy for how we're going to handle intellectual property from a couple respects. We want to bring in as many makers as possible, and we want to protect their ideas and get them in, and not have and also be able to talk about what they're doing and not potentially expose their ideas and open us up to future litigation from a disgruntled maker. So I kind of came away from Heidi's knowing that that's an item that we need to work on. So then I was driving around 10:30. Now that was from 8 to 9. At 10:30, I got an email from Melissa. Melissa is a IP lawyer from the biotech field who moved to Montrose about a year ago. And it was pretty obvious that I was doing a little bit of dance for that question in the open forum. And she offered to come on over and help us establish that policy at the makerspace. So we went back and forth a lot on Wednesday to try to figure out when we were going to have Melissa and her husband come over for a private tour with Kern and myself. Also on Wednesday, Hauck Engineering, which is the building next to us, got another 4-axis Doosan Lynx 220. I'll have some pictures on the posting down below, showing you exactly what that is. The one that was over there, the first Doosan that was over there, is the only one of its kind on the western slope, and now we have 2 on the campus there. And our 3rd Haas milling machine on our campus is going to arrive on Friday. So we have big plans over there for expansion for light manufacturing. Susan has been working on the MOU with the city, which is a memorandum of understanding on the relationship between the makerspace and the city of Montrose, and that's kind of all been finalized, and I'm going to sign that when I get back. I'm going down to meet a customer next week. When I get back, we're going to go ahead and sign the MOU with the city, and that's going to enable us to turn the fiber on, get our computer purchases made, purchase software, and get the equipment lease under control. Let me see. Oh, another thing is that David Crane came down. My notes are really a mess tonight. I apologize for how disorganized this is. He recorded the Heidi's presentation at Ross's request because we've been making gradual improvements to the presentation, and he wanted to record that. So David Crane came down and recorded that. He's going to put that together, and so we can actually post that on the website for people to kind of get a tour without me actually giving them a tour at the makerspace. While we're also down there at Heidi's, Joey, who's the director of the campus here, the Montrose campus of Colorado Mesa University, read this announcement. This is great news here. The machining technology classes of spring 2015 CMU Montrose campus. Starting on February 23rd, we're going to have MAMT 101, Introduction to Machining. This course is designed to give a student a broad overview of the world of manufacturing. And then MAMT 105 was print reading and sketching. Reading of blueprints and process sheets as used in industry application of that information for various manufacturing process. This is the start of, these are the prerequisites for taking the Introduction to Machining classes that we're going to teach at the Makerspace next semester. So they pulled the trigger. I know I've been talking about that for a while, but these are actually on their curriculum for this semester, starting on February 23rd. That happened on Wednesday. Bob from Snowmass was also there on Wednesday morning, and he met a lot of different individuals because a lot of the key players in the economic development world are there at Heidi's Forum. And so he was out networking at that forum as well, and he was really aggressive in going around and meeting people. I didn't really have to introduce him at all, other than in the formal presentation I said, here's Bob, he's considering moving his new company from Snowmass over to the Makerspace and Montrose in general. Well, after that I came home and I kind of passed out for a couple hours. Worked on some other stuff on Wednesday evening. Now on Thursday, I'm going to go over my stuff here. Thursday, we got a review back on the MOU, or a revision back on the MOU from Virgil. Virgil wrote us and said he wanted a copy of the video of the Heidi's presentation, because Virgil's going next week from the Gigabit City Initiative. So at this Heidi's thing, with December we had the Montrose Business Resource Partnership, and then we had this Bob Delves came over from Telluride and talked about the Telluride Venture Accelerator and Telluride Venture Fund. Last week we had the Proximity Zone, which is a co-space here in Montrose that's being put together. And then this week we had Heidi's, next week is Gigabit Networking. So it's really a compact distillation of all the activities. It's been very exciting over at Heidi's for last month. So he wants a video so he can go over and watch my presentation to make sure it sinks in with whatever he was going to talk about next week. Virgil wrote this email to me today. Is today Thursday? Oh, this is... I don't even know what day it is. This stuff happened today. Okay. Hi, Craig. The PAX committee. Remember, PAX is the Public Arts Exhibit. The PAX committee met last night and is excited about the project. This is the Public Arts Exhibit that's going on in the Makerspace. It's a sculpture for our yard that attract attention to our space when you're driving down 6450 road. They mentioned their long-standing desire to incorporate opportunities for youth in public art. They will have a public event in the fall, and we can discuss how we will incorporate your exhibit into the event. Oh, okay, that's fine. And he said, how did Heidi's forum go? Any chance I could get a recording of it? So I forwarded David Crane's information over to Virgil, and we'll let those two work that out. At 1 o'clock, I don't have his card here. Crap. Regional manager from Alpine Bank came over with Allison and Tyler. I had his card sitting right here so I wouldn't forget it. But then I put it away, whatever. He came over for an hour and we talked about our vision. We gave him a little bit of a tour, and he reiterated some kind of ideas that Allison came up with about 2 weeks ago when we selected our banker for the Makerspace, and how we want to work together with them to secure potential loans for makers to accelerate their business, or accelerate into the acceleration or incubation process. And he also talked about supporting the Makerspace and the kind of the level of expertise that they can bring to these new companies that are going to get started, from financing and the support activities that a bank actually provides, credit counseling, credit evaluation, those kind of things. That was today, this afternoon. Tonight, the time that we've got to meet with Melissa, remember that was yesterday's or Wednesday's meeting with email from Melissa. We got the time straight now. It's going to happen at 7 o'clock, which is the tour time. But Chuck was going to run the tours. So Chuck was out running the tours, and Kern and myself and Melissa and her husband were talking about intellectual property. And it was a very exciting meeting. I know that intellectual property is really on the tips of your tongue all the time. But for us, it's going to, she has extensive experience in working in the biotech field, in doing things like, intellectual property protection, patent applications, copyright protection, trademarking, those types of things. And she moved to town and is looking to expand her practice to Montrose, and has seen in the last year all these people with all these ideas who want to create these things, and we're the mechanism in which that's going to happen. So she's has come over to find out how she can best help, and Kern outlined several aspects that she then offered to potentially teach several instruction classes on intellectual property and the involvement in that whole process from her perspective, and that's a great benefit. And she offered that, we didn't have to ask. So she's going to really be a powerful volunteer for us. And also, she mentioned arrangements with the makers and how to best help them. And I can kind of see, at the rate we're going, this might result in 15 patent applications or 20. I don't know how many it's going to be. And to have her local and at her skill level is a really powerful asset for the makerspace here. Another Ted, our favorite World War II vet, showed up today with several envelopes and a checkbook. I remember Ted last week or 2 weeks ago came in and he went on a tour, and at the end of that he said, hey, I want to donate $1,000 for a veteran to go through and pay for his membership for a year, but under the condition that he learn how to use all these tools so that he can get a job somewhere doing machining. And we think that's a great mix, because that's exactly what we're going to do. He was there today to give us a check, and he talked to Kern about it, and he brought in a stack of envelopes. And I went and talked to him, and I found out how he was doing. He said, I brought that check in, and Kern told me not to write it. And they wrote a little letter saying that he will donate $1,000 when the veteran is selected. He left us some envelopes with his address on it. He says, look, sometimes I don't hear the phone. I don't have an answering machine. Remember now, Ted's 90 years old, sharp as a whip. He doesn't have a cell phone. He doesn't read email. So he said, the best way to get a hold of me is to write me a letter. And so when it comes time to introduce him to the veteran he's supporting, we'll write Ted a letter. The last thing that happened this evening was John Bish came over from Welcome Home Montrose Resource Center, the Warrior Resource Center in Montrose. And he brought a friend of his from Wisconsin. Now, unfortunately, I didn't read the names on our sign-up list, so I don't remember his name. Very tall gentleman. And they went up in the lounge, which is, what it's for. The lounge that we have, which is some couches up there on some subflooring. And he kind of told me that, right as I got introduced to him downstairs, he said, what, I had a dream last night that I came over here and your lounge had a piano in it. And I said, well, yeah, our lounge has a piano. And he goes, I know, that's the piano in my dream. Do. But that's how it works here at the Makerspace. We're getting them and subconsciously in people's dreams, that we're going to bring them all into the Makerspace. So I said, well, why don't you just go up there and play that piano? So he marched up there and he started playing, and I went up after him and took a photo of him. And I said, so how is it? He knew exactly what I was saying, because I was really out. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty out of tune. I said, well, we'll put that on our list of people to find. I did add a bunch of stuff to the website. I'll talk about that in a minute. Chuck ran the tour, and he talked to 4 people tonight, John Bish and his friend, and a couple that came in. And they were there for a really long time, till like 8:30. Most of the time the tours last about 45 minutes. That guy, John Bish, was really tired. He just wanted to go home and go to bed. That guy's going to move to town. He said he purchased a KLR 650. He wants to do a lot of trail riding around here. And he's going to move to town from Wisconsin pretty quick. So he left. I said, so what are you going to leave with? He says, well, I'm not going to get much sleep for a week thinking about all the various things I'm going to get to do here. And so we applaud him and welcome a new member to town here in Montrose. So on the website, I did a few things that you may not notice. And then this is the last thing I'm going to do, because this is about 20 minutes long. Under the About section, there's now a thing called Documents. A lot of people have been asking, can I have this copy of the slides from your presentation? So I went on our Google Drive and I shared the presentation folder, and then I put a link on our website under the documents page. It's called presentations. So in there you can download the Kaufman videos, as well as all the presentations that we've given, which are the introduction one in December, the Rotary one in January, and Heidi's Forum that happened yesterday. I did that. The other thing I worked on was, is this going to work? There we go. I created a wanted tab of people and equipment. In fact, I need to go in here and add the piano tuner right now. And I think the piano tuner will probably show up like tomorrow, because it always does work that way. And I did something else too. I don't know. I'm really tired now. So I'm going to cut it off. This is Makerspace Today for January 29th, 2015. Thanks for watching.